Morning, everyone. Here's a CBC panel, 3 talking heads and the host, talking about, is conservatism a home for white supremacists? And I think that that's interesting. Our tax dollars at work trying to find some white supremacists to vilify. I honestly, all of the articles that I've seen, I was going to say the most news articles, but all of the news articles that I've seen are all talking about the dangers of white supremacy without actually talking about any actual white supremacist attacks other than maybe Christchurch. And I haven't read the manifesto of the person. I was late in getting it, and by the time I heard about it, they had outlawed it in New Zealand. And I'm not in New Zealand, but I thought it was kind of funny that they had done that, and I realized that I'd have to go torrent it, and I just haven't had the time. So I haven't read the manifesto, so I don't actually know if that was a white supremacist attack or if he was just sick and tired of something. I don't know, so I don't want to speak to it. That's why I don't mention it in these examples. I know it's attributed to white supremacy or alt-right, but I as we looked at the incel attack yesterday, that doesn't look like it has very, very close ties to the alt-right. It seems like they're reaching with that, so who knows about Christchurch? I don't know. And it's interesting to me that our tax dollars are going to this witch hunt, this white supremacist witch hunt, instead of talking about the real dangers of socialism and communism and how they stifle economies, how they're traps for people to fall into, to not better themselves, but just to maintain the status quo. Well, I can't go to school. I'd lose my apartment. Yeah, maybe. But in the long run, you'd be better off because you might be able to afford a house. So go to school or not, get a trade. Even better. But they don't talk about this kind of stuff. They talk about how evil the white supremacists are, and maybe that whole conservative party, maybe anybody right of, Chairman Mao is a conservative, and we should vilify those guys. Those guys are terrible. Except that those are the policies that actually built Canada, right? Capitalistic sales and incentives that way, meaning the market, built Canada, in addition to being close to the United States and trade with the United States, which is a huge impact and influence in our country, which is funny to watch. It's not funny, it's terribly sad to watch our administration, the people who are currently leading Canada, distance themselves from Trump so much, because while he may be abrasive, he's still the leader of the United States, and it looks to be like he will be for the next 5 years, 6 years, 2024, right? So it's interesting to look at that because geopolitically it makes no sense for there to be animosity between Canada and the United States, yet there is. And our administration isn't pushing for any of that, but what they are doing is looking for white supremacists. So weird. Here's another meme. They tell the stories, guys, and this is just factual. Okay, provinces in 2015, there you go. We've got a smattering of NDP and very few conservatives, and everybody got sick of that garbage by 2019. And PEI is on Tuesday as well, so I'll be mentioning that. PEI is going into an election. I forgot about that, but it'll be yet another bellwether. I don't know if conservatives have a shot in PEI, but hey, we'll see. Who knows? Everywhere else has gone blue. So it looks like people are swinging to the hard right because they're sick and tired of this guy. And we're going to get to this guy. He is saying now, all of a sudden, quote, here's Justin Trudeau tweeting, the Charter of Rights, Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is at the heart of who we are as Canadians. And it's up to all of us to safeguard it and the freedoms it protects for each other. Happy Charter Day. Right. Except weird that he's the person who said that Canada there is no core identity, no mainstream in Canada. He said that in 2016. Try and find the video clip. It's impossible to find. I couldn't find it, and I don't have an offline backup system yet, other than just for my videos. Like I back my stuff up offline, but I don't have backups for stupid things Justin Trudeau says. But here's an MP talking about it, and well, this is the best I could do, and along with some articles referencing him saying this, but he did say this, so here we go.
I have a significant concern with regards to the position of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has stated, that there is no core identity. There's no Canadian identity. And I think that's dangerous. I think that I have serious concerns with that. He has his immigration minister, Mr. McCallum, out talking about how there's divisions in the Liberal caucus on this issue, on the issue of immigration, and how we need to integrate. Well, my question is really, just let me finish for one moment. How do we actually integrate someone if we don't have a core identity? How do you take someone who is coming to our country and integrate them into Canada if we as Canadians, as the Prime Minister says, has no core identity?
Okay, well, let's explore that a little further, because I know one of you...
Okay, I want you to pay attention to this because he walks away, and I think it's quiet, so I apologize. There's nothing I can do. It's all the way up. But watch him pull her away from saying, what is he talking about? Why is he saying we don't have a core identity? And how do you integrate people with no core identity? You just say, come here and, now you're Canadian, boom, magic. You don't have to do anything. That's crazy. And it doesn't make sense for integration. It leads to division, which we've seen. This was in 2016. Watch him inject Trump and watch him pull her away from all of those points. He doesn't want to go anywhere near it. Here, watch. Here we go.
Your opponents, Michael Chong, has called this dog whistle politics. Comparisons to Donald Trump have been made, which I know you reject, but how is a values test different from, say, Trump's extreme vetting?
Oh, look.
Right? He's saying, oh, Trump's extreme vetting, how is a values test, blah, blah, blah. And this is not about a values test. This is about maintaining safety and having integration when people who are immigrating here have been here for a while, right? If you don't have to learn English, if you don't have to become a part, or French, or become a part of the greater, wider Canadian culture, if you become ghettoized in one area where other people from your home country gather, that is a negative. That's not helpful to the future cohesion of Canada. Then you just get ghettoized states within a province, and that doesn't work either, because then people get upset. It doesn't, long term, that doesn't stand. And we've got examples of that throughout history. And the fact that division is being encouraged by the Prime Minister is just so concerning, because you can't wish away a country, right? You can't wish away the history and say, now we're totally multicultural. Let's have parks named after foreign countries' leaders. It defies sense. It defies sense. It is okay to be proud of Canada's history. There's nothing wrong with that, unless you're Justin Trudeau. It's so weird. Okay, here's a look at the St. Benedict town hall, and Trudeau gets rattled on a climate change question. And I wanted to look at this because he says multiple times, and I've got it written down here, link is in the description, and all of my notes for the time index is in the description. We're going to watch the YouTube clip, so it'll be louder than the other clip. So that'll be all right to listen to. I apologize for the other one. But he says multiple times that oil and gas is needed for our economy and is not going anywhere. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But here's the question. And right away, the first thing he says all the time about climate change is real and happening, and we need to fight it. Why do politicians need to say that all the time? A problem is obvious and doesn't need to be sold or shoved down your throat like we're currently seeing our politicians do. So it always makes me question what is going on here. Why do you have to keep telling us that? Barack Obama kept saying the same thing. Climate change is real. Climate change is real. And the skeptics are looking for evidence and proof. And anybody on the other side is saying that is denial. And it is not denial. It is saying, please provide evidence before we start paying a carbon tax. And by the way, we're 1.6% emissions for the whole world. How does it make sense to wreck our economy to reduce that? Because it doesn't make sense to reduce it. Because it doesn't. It would cost more than it would be worth in the long run. Because 1% of the world's emissions come from Canada. 1.6%. Right? Okay. Here is Justin Trudeau telling you and the audience, climate change is real and happening, and we need to do it. We need to fight it. But in the same answer, he's going to say, we need oil and gas for the foreseeable future.
We need to treat addiction like a sickness, not a crime, and that is something that we're going to continue to push for. So thank you very much for your question back. Question from this section here. You.
Hi, my name is Kira. I'm here from the Guelph Constituency Youth Council. My question is, how does the government buying the Trans-Mountain pipeline play into government's climate change action plan?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I'm going to start with something basic I think we all can agree on. Climate change is real and must be fought.
Every time, right? That's where you start. That's the weird. Okay, I'm going to cue up the next clip. Okay, this is the first heckler interrupting. Here we go.
Need to move towards a lower carbon economy. There is no question about that. And the way we're going to do that is, sorry. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm busy answering this girl's question. I'm going to come around and maybe I'll be able to ask you a question, answer a question from you. But thank you. Allow me to continue answering her question. Thank you.
The clapping is to drown out the person asking the question, right? They're silencing her, like they're saying, yeah, we're done listening to you, that's why. And they do it because he asked. And there are a lot of people in the crowd that are Trudeau's people, right? Like true believers or Liberal Party members or whatever. And that's to be expected at any political gathering, right? You're going to get people who agree with you because whatever. And there are a lot of people, apparently, who agree with Trudeau still. But there are a lot of people who are giving him a hard time. So that was the first time. And her question was the financial impact, I believe, of the carbon tax is not something she likes. And he was like, yeah, maybe I'll get to ask you a question in a minute. Okay, I'm going to get to the next clip. Okay, here he is, interrupted again. And this is the second time he turns his back on the heckler. Okay, here we go.
Atmosphere, and that's why we have changed and made sure that pollution is not free anywhere in this country. We've put a price on pollution, and that is a significant step forward that is going to ensure, sorry, sorry. Okay. We will come around and be able to answer more questions. This was a question about why are we building a pipeline and why do we buy a pipeline? I suspect that you want to know why we're buying a pipeline. Thank you. I look forward to answering the question then. So, what we are doing...
Thank you. I look forward to answering the question. You're in the middle. You've been answering the question since 51 minutes and 15 seconds. Like, get there, right? People are yelling because you're not answering the question. You're talking about your initiatives, which are failing, and don't actually address anything that people are worried about. And that's apparent because the crowd is not with you, sir. They're not with you. I can feel it here. Thank goodness. And I'm going to cue up the next clip. Okay, this is Trudeau talking about how oil and gas will be part of the Canada's economy for the foreseeable future. Here he is.
What we are doing is moving forward on reducing our carbon emissions. Now, we're not going to be able to eliminate oil and gas anytime soon. Our economy is significantly reliant on that. Yes, we're investing in renewables, we're investing in wind, we're investing in solar, we're looking at all sorts of different alternatives, but for the foreseeable future, we will continue to require oil and gas. We are phasing out coal, which is a big step, but we are going to be continuing to rely on oil and gas. Now, we've done significant things to encourage greater efficiency, more cleaner development of oil and gas, but we are going to require oil and gas for a while still. Therefore, what we need to do is figure out how to move forward. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. I believe the young woman's question was exactly that. Was how are we buying a pipeline? How are we buying a pipeline if we're trying to fight a climate change? Sirs, yes. Okay.
We are living in an age where West Texas crude does not mean Canadians.
Okay.
We are dealing with the fact that we're going bankrupt in Alberta. We are going bankrupt with natural gas. We are going bankrupt with oil. All of it is a sham. This is fraudulent. The money is being...
Okay. I thank you, ma'am, for your concern, your passion, and it's a passion I think we all share. We're all worried about our kids. We're all worried about the increased costs of climate change. We're all worried about the extreme weather events, whether it be droughts, whether it be floods, whether it be more hurricanes down south.
So the crowd tactic, silencer, right? Silencer. And there's a lot there. He spent a full minute saying, we are going to need oil and gas for the foreseeable future. That is going to end up Steeper 33. Are you watching this? Put that to a beat. Put it to a beat and put it on YouTube, my friend. And that is going to go viral. The Liberals can't run on simultaneously, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't get elected, and also elect us because we're going to be good stewards of the next couple of pipelines. And by the way, Alberta's broke. And all of the money that used to get sent to other provinces, it doesn't exist anymore because 25% of nothing is nothing, right? Like, it is incredible. And I did my notes from this video here, and shocking global news made this woman's statement silent. I couldn't hear it. I thought, oh, it's a shame that the mic didn't pick that up. I got done by these. Oh, I got bamboozled, right? They did something. They doctored the tape in order that I couldn't hear that this woman was making a very cogent argument saying, it's a sham. They're taking all of the oil and gas money. They're landlocking our oil. Do you know what happened to Venezuela? Do you know how much money is going to keeping Maduro in charge in order to continue to keep Venezuela in the state that it's in? Socialism in action. Venezuela was a very nice place to be prior to 2010, 11, 12. And then in the last 5 years, things changed dramatically. And I don't want to get into the politics of Venezuela, but oil makes Canada a rich country. Without oil, well, wind and solar make up 3% of the world's energy, period. So that means, do some quick calculations, everyone, with me. At least 96% comes from oil and gas. So if we are going to just leave it in the ground, how are we going to continue to pay for the standard of living that we enjoy? That is the fundamental crux of it. And the answer isn't keep printing money and spending and importing people, because that doesn't solve the problem. And so anyway, I apologize for not being aware of what this woman said. I should have listened to this video in its entirety. I made a mistake. Anyway, I'm going to get the next clip. Hold on. Well, and then the gentleman's here when the woman was confronting Trudeau, and the other woman stood up ready to get her, and his friend pulled her down, and he said, like, isn't that the question you want answered? I'm answering the question, blah, 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 blah. Like, talk about an arrogant answer from Trudeau. Talk about a very poor way to handle this crowd. He's coming off as combative, and he's not coming off as the nice guy image that was rampant in 2015, right? Everybody liked him. He was a affable, good guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's, again, because we didn't know him, right? And now we know him. He's an empty suit and an empty head too, right? So, okay, I'll cue up the next clip now. All right, here's where the heckler gets removed. And I think this will be the last clip unless I see something else really interesting, but here we go.
Anything to fight climate change is a priority. And I disagree with them. I absolutely disagree with them. But I also disagree with people that think that we can suddenly stop all consumption of oil and gas tomorrow. So what we are doing as a government is managing a path forward that protects the environment at the same time as we grow the economy, as we develop the ability to actually invest in renewables, to invest in clean energy. So we have right now an issue where the gap between okay. Ma'am, I'm going to ask you, please, to be respectful. You can shout at me all you like, but you're not being respectful to other people in this room right now. Please, ma'am, these people... See, one of the challenges within our democracy is that people are very good at shouting, not always very good at listening. And that, ma'am, is what we have to do. We need to be hearing each other. So I'm going to try and wrap up this question as quick as I can, because it's already gone. This issue.
Okay, so the woman who came in there, that is a vice principal. She was a vice principal anyway when I was there, and very nice lady, very, very nice lady. But she's the big cheese, and she's telling her time to go, because she would have been prepped by Mr. Trudeau about what to do if this situation arose, and that is what happened. So it's so interesting that he lost the crowd right at the beginning of the clip I showed you. He was talking about how oil and gas is fundamental, and it's going to be, we're going to be investing in it responsibly, et cetera, et cetera. They have convinced people so much that this 12-year thing is happening, or whatever, 2030, I think, is the arbitrary date at this point in time. But they've convinced people so much that this whole crowd was lost by Trudeau saying, yes, we need oil and gas, and it needs to be developed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because that's what his propaganda machine has put out consistently. And, well, I mean, yeah, it's anxiety producing scare climate porn, right? And, well, that's the world we live in, unfortunately. And hold on, I am going to queue up a couple of more clips. Hold on. Here he talks about how oil by rail is not safe, and pipelines are the safer way to transport oil.
Really, have more money to invest in the kinds of renewable we need. And if we're talking about transporting oil, you can talk to a Quebecer about Lac Mégantic. Rail on oil oil by rail is not the safest way to do things. Tanker trucks is not the cleanest way to do things. Modern pipelines are a safer way of transporting oil than just about any other way. So while we continue to be reliant on fossil fuels as a country and as a global economy, we're going to be doing it the right way and a responsible way, because developing our resources sustainably and responsibly is something that I think all Canadians can get behind. Thank you very much.
Right, all Canadians can get behind, except this whole audience screamed out in protest every minute or so, and people had to be restrained from attacking the people yelling out. And when did Trudeau become pro-pipeline? Right after Miss Notley got kicked out, right? No. When? Oh, right after SNC got the DPA? Oh, no. When did he become pro-pipeline? Is he a conservative? Is he a white supremacist? My goodness. And the last little bit I'll show you is just more of a visual thing. At the end here, I was saying yesterday that the gym didn't look to be as crowded as I thought. And look at all these empty chairs, right? There's empty chairs, empty chairs, empty chairs, empty chairs, empty chairs. This is just at the end, but it's, 2.5 hours in. Sorry, that's too far back. And I was listening to the last little bit here, and I noticed all these empty chairs. You would think that a prime minister would be able to fill up a gymnasium in the heart of Southern Ontario. You would think that the sitting prime minister, especially one going into an election year, would be able to have maybe people waiting outside. How many people does Donald Trump get to a rally? Oh, I know the populations are a little bit different, right? But it's pretty interesting that Justin Trudeau can't fill up all of the chairs in a gymnasium. Interesting stuff. And it's interesting that Trudeau is so pro-pipeline on the night that Jason Kenney gets elected in Alberta. Pro-pipeline? We need pipelines in Canada now all of a sudden, sir? Wow. It's either election rhetoric or he saw the numbers. He saw what is coming and decided to maybe change the tactic. But the true believers in this audience, they were not with him. They did not support what he was saying, not even a little bit. So, thank you for watching, everybody. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca, and if you've got some more time, check out canadapoly.com. We'd love to have you join the conversation, and have a wonderful day. I think Justin Trudeau is having an even worse day than yesterday, and every day I hope will be a little bit worse until election. And then after that, I don't care. After that, it doesn't matter to me. So, have a wonderful day, you viewer. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for watching.